So we have a great presentation for you. We're going to start off a new year with a bang. Part of the Lenovo SMB Nation Tour. Some very, very valuable information. How many of you are working with companies that are doing XP to Win 7 or Win 8 conversions now, migrations? Yeah. I'm doing Wells Fargo International. It is a daunting task. There is a lot of complexity. There is a lot of headaches. So I think that we will find out some good information tonight that will be helpful for everybody. So Ray, where are you? Oh, there he is. I thought I'd lost my presenter. Give Ray a big hand.
Thank you, man. Thank you very much. Let's see. Is it working? Can you hear me? Testing, testing, testing. Good, good. Well, the slides will help keep me on track. There's a lot I'm going to try to cover. I had a great conversation this afternoon with Frank, so I have a sense of who's in the room, which goes the gamut. Technically, there's going to be very superficial technical information, but hopefully there'll be nuggets that I'll be able to pass along. So let me just start off with, I'm one of you guys. I was getting ready to come on this tour, and I said, you know what? I have these things, and I never really, paid attention to collecting these things. I'd come home from an event, and I would just put them on this post. And all of a sudden, I said, I've been to a lot of events, because this isn't even all of them. And I know what it's like to be in the audience, and the person's speaking too fast, or they're talking over my head, or, every single variation in between. So I've taken that into consideration with what I'm doing, and every one that I do, I get more information from you guys that helps me do a better job and connect with information that you have that I can pass along to other people, and things that, you'd like, hey, I'd like a little bit more or whatever. So please fill out the forms. It'll help me, and then I can potentially, get back to you and say, well, what did you mean about that? And then I can get more clarity on it, because we got a bunch of them that we're doing across the country, and hopefully some of the stuff I'm going to show you tonight was stuff that we picked up at other events. All right, so let's start. XP migration strategy, SMB Nation, and XP migrations, which is kind of like a subdivision of SMB Nation, is kind of like the people in charge of this event. And because of XP end of life, there's a big belief, and I think it's true, that there's a really big opportunity to generate more income. Now, I know I'm talking to a room where we've got IT professionals that are independent consulting firms and stuff like that, and then we also have people working in the enterprise space. So some of this stuff, you'll be able to figure out what applies to you, or how it applies to you. Okay, so that's me. My name's Jay Weiss. That's my niece did that to me at Christmas time. At Halloween. And that's the way I feel about XP. It's like, oh my God, you're going to die. So I'm a founder of Computer HMO. I've got over 25 years of experience in the IT space. I've got a few certifications. Those are the only ones I put on there. Contributed to a lot of stuff with SMB technology books, presenter, moderator at industry events. And what's really been cool is the writing that I've been doing for SMB Nation, because I get to talk to the executives at Lenovo, at Intel, one-on-one, which I could not believe when I was first sent out. All of a sudden, I'm talking to the CEO of Intel. Just me and him in a room, and it's been really amazing. So that helps give me the opportunity to at least speak to these people on your behalf as I have these opportunities, and hopefully have some influence. So yada yada. Okay, so XP migrations, SMB Nation, that's me. This is the legitimate one. My contact information is jweiss@computerhmo.com, and that's my phone number, and that's my logo. Okay, So I'm going to go through this. How many people know SMB Nation? Okay, I thought you looked familiar. It looks like only like 20%, right? So SMB Nation has been around for a long time. Some would say they're visionaries. They've often been on the cutting edge of getting information to us to be aware of, not after the fact, but beforehand. This tour is an example of that. Over a year ago, they were working on this tour, and there was a lot of corporations that were supposed to be sponsoring this. Like, it's not a big deal. And then all of a sudden, as of Friday, there was a conversation with some Fortune 1 companies, because I don't know if it's NDA or not, but they were like going, can you go across the world and hit all these different countries by April 8th? And so Harry, who's the founder of SMB Nation, he's telling me this, and I'm horrified because I don't know what the result was. So I'm saying, I hope you didn't say yes. That's the beauty about SMB Nation. They've been around. They're well connected in everything technology, and consequently, they've gotten the word out about voice over IP at the very beginning, and we're talking about it. And they've got conferences and stuff that I've been going to since the very beginning. Really good place. If you ever get a chance, go to smbnation.com. You'll find a lot of good content and be connected to, hopefully, what's going on now and what the future is imagined to be. So these are just a few things about them. I'm going to go through some of this fast. They've done a lot of tours worldwide. 2005, they did a thing with HP and Microsoft. 2006 to 2008, Small Business Server Specialist. And tons of workshops. They have a new one coming out now, 10-city tour. So check it out. It's about PowerShell and other emerging technologies. And they put out in one of their magazines, I think it was third quarter last year. Again, I'm saying they're thinking ahead. So if it came out third quarter last year, they were planning of putting this together before that. They came out with a XP migration guide. Over 10 authors contributed to the effort. Practical professional guidance for you to do XP migration. So if you get a chance, now this is the way the slide that I got was originally set up. And the important thing is when I did is I followed through some of the slides and said, okay, wait a minute, I'm not 100% sure where this is. So smbnation.com, content magazine, that's the actual URL there. So you can see, put that in your head. The slide will be available to you. It's pretty good. I put this in here because today I was driving down the road and I saw a sign, "Are you due?" And I'm like going, okay, another fat joke. That's just wrong, And it was for an oil change. But I was like, this really applies to XP migrations. Are you due? Yes, you are due. If you're still running XP, you're due for a change. So I thought I'd throw that in and remind you about that, and just say only in Charlotte, North Carolina. You're going to see that as an ad for an oil place. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to get a group photo before we get going too much, because the last event I did the event, and at the end I forgot to get the photo, and half the people were gone, and we only had a small group of people for the photo. Everybody wants to leave at the end. So if you wouldn't mind, we're going to be writing an article about Charlotte and whatever comes up in the conversation tonight. So if we can get everybody together for a group shot up front, I'd really appreciate it.
Inspections in North Carolina are required. Inspection, auto inspections, and all those RUDs.
Oh, is that what it's about? Cool. All right, so now we need somebody. Can we get somebody in AV to take a picture? Just everybody get really close. Imagine you're a sardine. That usually works. We did this one at Microsoft's headquarters. We had like 400 people, and it was hysterical. It was on the cover of the magazine, and then you're trying to figure out front, yeah, front. Okay. Good. Great. Frank, we want you in the picture too. All right. Okay. Frank, would you fix your hair? Okay, good. Are we close enough? Yeah, feel free to, ham the camera. Thank you very much, everybody. Do we? One more. Oh wait, we have a short person over here. Hold on. Come here. I'll help you out. I know what it's like to be short. My brother's in the circus. There you go. Then I'll explain this one. Thank you very much. So, just a quick note on short people. My brother was with Ringling Bros. And Barnum Circus for 25 years, and now he's with Circus Vargas, which is another circus that was used for the movie Water for Elephants. And if you've seen the show Amazing Race, in season 4, my brother was on Amazing Race. It was John and Al, the circus clowns. So, just a little tidbit of fun information. Thank you very much, everybody. Okay, so XP migration expires, end of support. So does Office 2003 expire. Anything server, this is actually needs to be adjusted. It's not anything server 2003, but Small Business Server 2003, end of life. Okay, let's see. How are we doing on time? We're doing good. I like having a clock in the back of the room. All right, so detour ahead. What do you do? New laptops, desktop purchase. So some of the statistics say 90%. I would argue that it's 100%. If it's running XP, there's no advantage in upgrading an XP machine. Does anybody have a different opinion on that? Yes. Okay. There are exceptions to the rule. He basically said he's running Novell, and on what did you say on Windows 3.5? Is that what it was? So yes, like everything, there's an exception to the rule, and he has to be sitting right in the front. So it was interesting. On the way here, I had to stop at the UPS store to print up some more material, and so I was in there, and the owner of the UPS store was talking about Windows 8 and not wanting to go to Windows 8 and wanting to go with Windows 7. What's interesting about that is when I go and do these events, there's like a fight that breaks out, you know. Some people say, I force my clients to go to Windows 8, you know, I know best, and they do it, and, you know, it works for them. And I have other people say, no, I'm not going to force Windows 8 on them. What's, you know, if you could raise your hands, I'd like to get some of the opinions of the people in the room, see where people stand here. Okay, nobody stands anywhere. Yes, sir. But you can't look at the slides. That's just not fair. So that is your opinion? Boot to desktop. Okay. Yes, sir. Boy, that's a good one. Yeah, well, yeah. There you go. Bring it to the Microsoft Store. Also, like when you bring up points like that, I don't know the answer to that, but if you put it on that piece of paper, I will find out, and I will email you the answer to that. So what we're really fortunate right now, Harry Brailsford actually has a short-term contract inside Microsoft, and so he's within all the different buildings every day, and so we have access, to really get to the people that should know the answers to these things. So, all right, so new Office 2013, Office 2013, and what's the role of the server? I actually had an interview with the server team for Intel in March of last year, and I was like, okay, I understand in the enterprise environment, but in the small business environment, is there, with everything going cloud and everything else, is there a real need for a server and all the resources to maintain and manage a server? They didn't have a good answer for me. So I actually have a question. What's the opinion of the audience here about servers in small business environments? Yes, sir. Print server. Okay. Anything else? Anybody else? Security? Security concerns for the cloud. So it becomes a traffic cop? Is that what you're saying? Suggesting? Yeah, well, there's those issues too, right? What I think, just in case you didn't hear, you can make more money if it's on site versus if it's in the cloud. Well, the money aspect of it is another bigger problem that I'm trying to figure out how to address. I actually did my own little research related to buying from distributors, the retail price, and buying it on Amazon for about 10 or 15 different items. And 95% of the time, it was cheaper on Amazon. So much cheaper, it wasn't worth buying it from a distributor. And one of the sponsors for this event is a distributor. So, but it was an internal memo, right, for us just to have a conversation about it, because I'm trying to get the point across to them what the challenges are of the people, on the street, what our challenges are. They were immediately they were very defensive. They're like, how dare you do that at these events, show people this stuff and tell them to buy on Amazon. I was like, no, I'm trying to express the issue because, people say do this, but then they're not following it through and saying, if we do it this way and we express it to our clients, the clients are going, gee, I can buy it on Amazon for $200 less. Why should I buy it through you? And why should we buy it through a distributor? And the retail is, let's just say $500, and the wholesale's $475. So, the whole math of this whole thing about trying to make a profit, it's tough. And if you're honest and you have ethics, it's, you're going to lose money, and that's the problem. So we're going to talk about some of the stuff too. I digress. So one of the statistics are, and it's overwhelming, that there's, I'm going to go through some of the stuff quickly because I want to get to some numbers that I think are more realistic. Over 40% of computers worldwide are still running XP. And every time I turn around, I see an XP machine. My wife was having hip surgery at Kaiser Hospital, which was on the cutting edge of technology. Is there a Kaiser out in this area or no? Not anymore? Well, they were the first ones to integrate data and do all this stuff, and I had friends of mine that worked there as doctors. And so she's getting hip surgery, and the mobile cart that's in the room goes to a screensaver, and it's friggin' XP. I could not believe it. Everywhere I'm turning, we're seeing machines that are still running XP. And that percentage is gigantic. The numbers are just astronomical. this is talking about businesses 25 to 250 PCs, 20 million. Customers still on XP, 25. What, they both say 25. Oh, wait. Well, anyway, this is not my favorite slide. Okay, so let's move on. Okay. Yeah, so this is the pie chart that I like the most because at least this particular statistic shows the Mac, Vista, Windows 8 and XP, and Windows 7. So you can see in this one it says 31%. But when you think about this worldwide or throughout the country, there's a giant amount of people that are running XP. And I was thinking about it the other day, and I was thinking about somebody who's got a car that's been putting off getting a new car. You put it off, you put it off, you put it off, and then there just comes a point where you have to get a new car. And anybody that's still running XP, they, for the most part, my experience has been, they know they need to do it. And it's just about making it easy for them, making them feel comfortable about it. Okay. So, what time are we supposed to take a break? 7:30, okay. All right, so let me just go through some of these. I've got over 60 slides. USA Today and eWeek, they're all talking about cybercrime and basically that the cyber criminals are holding back until April 8th to really, release the Kraken. And every time I talk to people in the know, there's a pretty good agreement that that's the case. It's anybody's guess, but and the other thing is if you're out there talking about XP migration now to anybody that hasn't done it yet, when the media really starts pushing the buzz on it, you'll be already set, and they'll be thinking about you. So let's see. All right, so why should somebody upgrade? Functionality. Can't use Windows 2000, Office 2013 with an XP machine. 2013 will not work with an Exchange server of 2003. There's all these incompatibility things also. The Intel Haswell chip, you can't install XP on it. But you were saying you had new equipment, but it wasn't Haswell chip, right? Okay. Yeah, so that's one of those gotchas. So don't go out and buy 1,000 computers for a migration and go, okay, I'm going to put XP on it, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, God, I got to do an RMA. I hope they'll let me. So, let's see here. All right, so that's the one side in terms of compatibility with software. The other side is productivity. I wanted to find out, and if anybody has this statistic, please let me know. What I was able to find was from when computers kind of like first really came into their own in the 80s to now, the performance has increased over 800%. It's significant. So what I was trying to find out is from when XP came out to now, what's the difference? Because all you have to do is say, hey, that computer that's running XP, the hardware in there is like, you get a new piece of hardware that's going to work 10 times better, more efficient. And that has value. So, for example, here, the support costs for an XP machine, an older machine, Tech Aisle says it's $1,200 a year. And Intel says 5 times more support costs for older PCs. Lower productivity, 1.8 user productivity cost higher with an XP machine. I don't like that number because I think it's a lot higher than that. Okay, so yeah, that's the thing. I think that you want to give people a visual, and so I had this image in my head about the Amish and the Amish buggies, and it's like, well, how do you get the point across without trying to getting over technical? You guys in the room that are on the enterprise level, you have to communicate to, the people that make the decisions within your organizations. And I don't know about you, but the times that I've had to try to work with different big organizations, it's trying to, how do I get this point across as simply as possible and something that'll stick and stay. So go out and look for different pictures like this. It's a car with 2 Amish buggies. I love the Amish, so, I just want to say that. I'm going to be in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania next week, so yeah. So you've got other things about compliance, and I'm just going to go through some of that quickly. The other thing is anybody who's got a business that's running accepting credit cards, XP machine, not compliant, and the fines can be pretty darn high. So does anybody know what Pci Dss stands for? Come on, somebody. Ooh, there you go. So, healthcare, credit cards, HIPAA compliance. Yeah, I forgot where I was last week, but there was somebody talking about banks. There's some people here that work with banks. I've heard, they told me, this was in California, and they said, oh yeah, yada yada, I don't know if it was B of A or whoever it was, but it was somebody gigantic. It was like, they're still running on XP. I do not want to be the IT guy there trying to do a migration right now. I mean, that's insane. What's going on? Who's in the banking business here? Over here? Windows 7? Is that nationally or just in Charlotte? Cool. So I guess it wasn't B of A then. We got to pick on somebody. Why not pick on B of A? It's like, starting the alphabet. B's right in the beginning. How about you back there? Yeah, because you had raised your hand about... Yeah, so it's a problem nationally, and it's something to be taken into consideration. And the biggest thing, if anybody here know a guy named Dana Ebbs? Okay, were you at the event in Vegas? Okay, so Dana Ebbs is like this god of security, and it's fun to watch him. He's really passionate. There was one event a few years ago where him and Susan Bradley were on the stage together, and they got into almost a knockdown, drag-out fight about different opinions about security. A couple of years ago, he, presented at one of these big conferences with hundreds of people there, and he started this thing by saying, "Okay, I own everybody's phone here." He had hacked into everybody's phone, and everybody in the room were IT guys. They were freaked out. So I went to one of his evening presentations in Vegas, and he was talking about willful neglect. And, the fines are like $25,000 per incident. I can't imagine what's going to happen if the regulators actually follow up. Excuse me? High tech as jail? Yeah. I mean, it's serious. It's serious stuff. And every time I go to any training on HIPAA compliance and stuff, I walk away more fearful about getting involved in saying that I'm the expert in it, So some other things about tax benefits. This slide, again, also has a change at the beginning of the year, and that was that there was a tax deduction that you could take that was the Hummer, deduction. But now the years after, now it's 2014, so it's not that much anymore. It's 25,000. But do you know which section? Oh, God, I got to take that out of the bottom. See, it's supposed to be a question, a fun question, but here it is right here. You know? That's just wrong. Okay. So, yes, it's 179. God, what a great guess. Okay. So, you know, I mean, if you're working with small businesses, you're always figuring out a way to help them manage the cost of this stuff. And so, you know, that's it. And, of course, you know, there's a disclaimer. Talk to your CPA. Okay. So where do you go? XP, it was released in 2001, October 2001. I mean, just think about it. I mean, if you can think back, Frank and I went down memory lane this afternoon at lunchtime, and we were talking about, you know, OS2 and, you know, hard drives where the disks were this big and, like, washing machine tubs. It's the gray hair, man. I'm sorry. So, you know, 2001, if you try to go back that far and think about what the technology was right then and how things have changed both in the hardware and the software, it's mind-boggling. And if you can use, my idea is that knowing this when you're talking to your clients that are on the fence about migrating, you say, 2001 this stuff came out, you know. If you think about dog years is, you know, 7 to 1, computer years are like 100 to 1. You know, I mean, it's just gigantic. So Windows 7 downgrade, Windows 8.1, that came out in October. So it's 8.1 now. And these are the SKUs, you know, 8.1 Pro, Office. All right, so here, for me, I'm still on the fence about this, about Office 2013 or 365. Do we have some opinions in the room about that? You get support with 365. That's a good argument. Yes? So what he just said was that if your internet goes down and everything's on the server, but with Office 365, you actually have a copy of all the programs on your computer. It's about where your data resides and how you have that configured, right? Right? Anybody else? Okay, moving right along. I think Office 365 for most environments is pretty good. For a small business, you get 5 copies for, you know, $15 a month, basically. Okay, so you got the whole touchscreen coming into play these days, and you know, you got to take into consideration personal preferences. Okay, so Harry Brailsford, who put these original slides together, he's got a good sense of humor. So the first one is if people are cheap or broke, just go with Google Apps. So I'm just going to pass through this. So I don't like the slide either, but the concept is still there with what it says on the top, Lego Easy. You know, and I actually been working through this in the last month, doing like beta testing with people in Pasadena. And so I've basically created like a 20-step process that walks through all the different things to take into consideration when you're, you know, basically flushing the system, getting new equipment. So, you know, step 1, okay, you need a new computer. Do you want a desktop computer, or do you want a laptop computer, mobile computer? And what I like when I'm showing them you know, if they're interested in a desktop computer, I've got this here. I'm going to take out some of the props here for a second. In March, I saw these for the first time. Is anybody familiar with the Nook? Okay, a few of you. Yeah, I was amazed. So that, you know, they had the i3 at the time, and the i5 was coming out, and they had one station where they had this unit. Yeah, and just get it for the box alone. You know, it does that Intel thing when you take it out. And this is basically the new desktop computer. You know, there's different versions of this. Lenovo makes one that's 4 golf balls wide and, you know, the same height-wise. This little thing was running 3 high-def TVs off of it with nothing special. High-def movie on this screen, high-def movie on that screen, and the one in the middle was broken up into 4 segments, high-def in all 4 each quadrant, just off of this little thing. The hard drive is called an MSATA. It's like a stick of gum. And what I found is when we went around showing this stuff to the people attending, especially the consumer side, originally there wasn't supposed to be a desktop conversation. It was all about laptops and mobile devices. And I was like, you know, there should be the desktop conversation too. And we found that a good percentage of the people are still looking at desktops. And when you take out something that is so different from the standard desktop computer, even the small desktop computers, you come out with something like this or a little bit bigger, it increases that interest. And, that's cool. So you got the cool factor with these small things, and I just wanted to add that to the equation. And they're real powerful, too. I actually haven't. So the question was, what about the all-in-ones? And there was more to that? Yeah. What I'm finding is they're not getting as much traction as I thought they would. I've seen some really cool things with the all-in-ones. Initially, when they came out, my experience was they weren't easy to work on. And I've actually taken them apart and tried to work on them. Yeah, now Hewlett-Packard, I was at a thing last year, the beginning of the year, and they had said, okay, we understand this is a problem, and they designed one that was more workable, something you could work on. So again, it's customer preference. Lugging around a monitor to show people is more of a problem than taking this and saying, here's a new desktop. You interested? Or here's a laptop. I mean, this case over here is the Lenovo Combat Kit. We'll talk about this a little bit more later. But, you walk in with this, it is so sweet. I mean, the case itself was well designed to be sturdy, kind of like somebody in a band that travels around. And it's got a bunch of different laptops in there, and over here it's got the power supply, so they can touch and feel the different laptops. So now I'll be talking about this a little bit more later. But, it's really nice if you can bring the store to them, at least get them to understand concepts, and then you can get stuff, either these things or other things for them if it doesn't fit. I mean, for example, this was actually an interesting story. I had a client who's a jeweler, and this actually connects up to one of the sponsors, which is a distributor. And I'm not telling you this stuff, like I'm trying to sell you something. Like I said, I'm one of you. But real stories, I always like to connect to because they have more value to me than somebody who made up some imaginary thing. So on Thursday, I was speaking in Costa Mesa, and during Christmas time, I told you I was like going through my, what's my Lego easy, Amazon easy way to try to help a client make a decision and feel informed without giving them a master's degree in computers, right? And so in December, I showed this jeweler, these different things. I had them come over to my place and showed them all the laptops with somebody else that was in a pool supply company. And, she went away and was like, oh, right before I left to go on this tour, I need to migrate out. I know I need to do this. Let's do this now. And I was like, great. Today's Thursday. I'm leaving on Sunday to come to Charlotte. This is going to be a problem. And this is like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But, I want to make them happy. So I call up the distributor, D&H. I don't know what model I'm going to get. And while I'm having the conversation with her, she says, I want a Lenovo. Everybody I'm talking to says Lenovo is really good. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I was showing you. Oh, really? So it's like, that whole subliminal branding thing. So she, I didn't have to force her to do it. She was ready to do it. And then she said, I want a Lenovo. And, she had all these restrictions, cash flow and how much her budget, what she wanted to spend, nothing. So I call up D&H and I said, okay, I don't know if you've ever had this happen. And she, in the middle of this in December, like between Christmas and New Year, she says, oh yeah, and I got to introduce you to this 16-year-old kid who's really smart, and let me send you this link because he can build me a computer for $350. And I'm like, oh, God. And so, I'm trying to be respectful, because just because somebody's 16 doesn't mean they're not smart and they don't know what they're doing. And I immediately see, and I put it off because I'm like going, I'm first of all, if I sell you anything that I want to sell you, I'm not going to make money on the hardware to begin with. And I don't want to spend this much time. I've already spent, a couple hours with you in one way or another on this. So I look at the link, and it's like AMD, and like I've got nothing against AMD, but I don't want to be involved with it because I don't think they have the same kind of resources as Intel does, so I'd rather put somebody on an Intel chip rather than an AMD chip. Anybody else have any information on AMD? Because I used to see them out and go to their events, and I haven't really seen them out there in the field doing anything. Any input on that? No? Yeah. Yeah, he says he's running 8 VM 2012 servers on the machine, and it's a gaming computer, and it works just fine, not a problem at all. Yeah, I know. I mean, a lot of people, they think of gaming, they think of AMD. But for me personally, I didn't want to get involved with it and say, okay, here, yeah, I'll help you with that migration. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I think as a general rule, the preference would be Intel. I was speaking of gaming machines at that conference I was at for Intel in March of last year. They had the dream gaming machine that their engineers, it's like, here, guys, here's all the money in the world. Build whatever system you want to build. And it was like a $15,000 gaming machine with 3, monitors that were tilted this way, side by side, and you just looked at it and you said, if I was a gamer, I'd want this. So, anyway, let me just get back on track here. Sorry about that. So one of the things that SMB Nation and XP Migrations has done to help facilitate assessments for an XP migration is a free tool that is actually made by Rapid Fire Tools. They made a custom tool specifically related to looking for XP machines and creating a simple report that you can give your client saying, hey, you've got an XP machine, you've got so many XP machines, this is yada yada to do a migration. So it's a tool that you download. If you go to xpmigrations.com, you'll find the link for this. This is what it looks like. Download the tool, and then you upload the results, and then you get a form, executive summary. That's really good. Lenovo. Okay, here we go. All right, so we got. I think I'm doing okay, but we'll see. Okay, just go forward here. Okay, so there's a test that that XP Migrations is doing to help qualify people. Because as we're doing this national tour, we're speaking to consumers and we're also speaking to computer guys. So one of the things that we're doing is trying to work on the workforce. So as we get opportunities, we can then connect with people, and how do we do some kind of quality control. The test is, I think it's relatively simple, but apparently like 50% of the people fail the test the first time. Some of the stupid questions, again, I'm one of you guys, right? So if you've got any certifications, you've seen tests that you just want to kill the person that wrote the test. You say, this has nothing to do with the real world. But you know, the acronym thing, the acronym game. So you have end of life, then you've got end of support, then you have end of extended support, right? So it's like this is the trick question here, end of extended support. So that's where we are now in the cycle for XP. It's end of extended support, and that's April 8th, 2014. And you can see XP 2003 server and yada yada. Let's see. So there won't be any additional service packs. There won't be any patch Tuesdays, and every day after April 8th is 0 day. Beware, beware, trouble, trouble. Will Robinson. So more stuff. Let's see. Custom support. Okay, yeah. So after. Now, I want to double check this because I've heard different conversations about this. If anybody in the room knows the answer to this, let me know. But supposedly you'll still be able to get support, but it'll cost you $200 for each incident. Anybody heard otherwise on that? Okay. So here's the actual, breakdown of end-of-life support, and you'll see that here's a server here. It's 2015. But, if you're running servers that are 2003, you should be thinking about changing it out. Get through it now rather than later. Reality check. Let's see. Oh, okay. So, yeah. Yes, no, the sky's not going to fall. The XP machines are still going to work after April 8th. One of the conversations is the opportunity is, and the urgency before April 8th is more apparent. After April 8th, we'll see what happens. So there's this hockey stick approach to what they think is going to happen. It's kind of like when you do your taxes, everybody's like a small number of people doing their taxes, and then boom, right before the 15th, whew, hockey stick, right? So, no, it's not going to, the Earth isn't going to end. The Mayan calendar is not true. But again, that visual, all you have to do is say to your client, here's the XP machine. This is the rest of the world. Okay. Do you think you're going to be able to be competitive and be efficient in your business? I don't think so. All right. More nuggets. So it's an interesting thing. If you read the Wikipedia thing on Windows XP, install Windows 8, yada, yada. Okay, let's go past that. Money makers. Okay. Yeah, so this slide deck, it's been real interesting because we've looked at it, and I always like when somebody does this numbers game on how much you can make on upgrading computers when they're conservative. And I believe that this is pretty conservative. So if you do one migration per month, the customer size is 15 computers. So maybe, I don't know. Do you think that's a reasonable number? That the average, small business is going to be 15 endpoints for migration? Anybody got any feedback on that? No? Okay, well, I think that's a reasonable small business. So there's 12 months in a year. So if you take 12 times 15, that's 180. If you say that your profit is going to be $200 on each one of these, that's $36,000 a year. That's I'd like to increase my income by $36,000. And my experience has been that my profit's a minimum of $500. per install. And the way I'm setting it up is, again, I'm trying to make it Lego easy. So I'm giving 3 choices with the XP migration. 250, we just do almost nothing, but we'll make sure that it's patched and updated and ready to go. 400, I think it's $400. We'll install it on site. Everything's done at our place. Or we have another one that's like $500 or something. This is just for the labor, right? So they can buy the stuff. I don't want to waste a lot of time. So either buy my stuff, buy somebody else's stuff. We can come in and do it, or you can do it, yourself. Or at least you got, choose from column A, column B, or column C. So just trying to keep it simple, so it's not complicated. And so right before I left to come here, I had an extra $1,000 in my pocket. I was happy with that. So which verticals? So the CPAs, the best time to lock that deal down would have been in November, because you usually, at least my experience has been, usually want to get the migration over or the upgrade over by the end of December, so when January starts, they are not thinking about new equipment. But the ones that are highlighted are what's considered the low-hanging fruit of things you should be thinking about. This picture is the one that I took at the hospital when my wife was having her surgery. Okay, so deadline April 8th, and like we're talking about the hockey stick thing, the best minds in the industry are pretty much saying that we've got basically a year and a half, 2 years, 3 years, a 3-year lifespan for this upgrade line. So keep that in mind, because it's not going to, on April 8th, the opportunity isn't going to end. So let's see. So Microsoft's big thing is the get to modern, right? So it's a break right on time. Excellent. So we have a little break, and we'll regroup in like 5 or 10 minutes. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please report to your seats. We're going to get started. And again, remember, you've got the evaluation sheets. Please fill them out. Help me do a better job and get you the information you need. A few people have come up to me. They had some specific questions or issues, and I will personally do my best and stay in contact with you to help you get the information you need. We also have a fishbowl over here. If you want to put your business cards in there, we can have somebody follow up with you too on any of these things. We're passing some other flyers related to some of the stuff coming up in the next segment, and this is my audio for what I'm about to do. I'm going to try to go as fast as I can. Okay. All right, here we go. Does anybody here, we're going to be talking about money in one way or another. Does anybody here in the room have a $100 bill? Remember those things that there's a 1 and 2 zeros behind them? Anybody? Yes, see, we have somebody with a $100 bill. Sir, thank you for volunteering. Would you come on up here for a second? I was talking to Frank at lunchtime, and he found out something about me. So I'd like you to come up here so you can find out firsthand. And I apologize before I go any further. So what's interesting nowadays, he didn't get that from an ATM machine, So if he has a $100 bill on him, he had to go inside the bank. I don't know if anybody goes in the bank anymore. How you doing? What is your name?
Jeff.
Nice to meet you, Jeff. And if you'll take out that $100 bill, I'd really appreciate it. Unless somebody's taking it from you. Well, we shall see. Hold on. I have a sound effect for that. Let's see. Sound effect for that would be... Hold on. Here it is. Here it is. Right here.
It's old school.
Here we go. It's a $100 bill. Does anybody have a magic marker? Anybody have a magic marker? Magic marker? How about a pen? Anybody have a pen? Thank you, Yvonne. Sharpie. Yeah, you got a Sharpie? Sharpie's better because it's thicker and ruins the bill. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. If you'll do me a favor, put your initials on the bill. I did this once. It was Barbara Streisand. Yep. It's a set of initials there. And or Vic Damone. You don't want those initials, I'll tell you. Okay, let's see here. We got JB. JB. All right. Jewish booze. That's what my dad always used to say. Jewish booze. Okay. So we were talking. Somebody here knew that this is against the law. It's against the law to deface federal property, and a $100 bill would be considered federal property. But that's all right. I'm here for you. I will hold on to this so you don't get in trouble. Okay? There you go. Now, what I'm going to do is I want to make a good impression on you guys, so I'm going to try to make those initials disappear. Now, that was a Sharpie, and it's not a trick Sharpie, right? We didn't have this pre-planned. This is your Sharpie. So the odds of being able to get that off there are not very good. No. But, I've been developing some new software. As long as we don't have any bugs, we'll be okay. So I am actually part Cyberman, and there's a new show on TV about that. So I am going to use my new software that I've developed to try to eliminate that JB on there. So we're just going to go like this. And you'll notice there's nothing up my sleeves because I don't have any sleeves. And no time does the bill that you gave me leave your eyesight. Is that correct? All right. So now we're going to open it up and we're going to see. And I believe the initials are gone. Let's just make sure there. Do you see the initials on there? Anybody see the initials on there? No initials, right? The initials are gone. The software worked. Isn't that?
It's fabulous.
Is there a problem?
Yeah, there's a problem.
What's the problem?
I'm short 99 bucks.
Yeah. Well, why don't you sit over here, and I'm sure there'll be a patch for that soon. Tuesday. Hey, just have a seat. Let's give him a hand for coming up here. Okay, wait, they're telling me to wrap it up. I got to go, but thanks, everybody. Don't worry, I want you to get a good seat. I want to make sure you get your money's worth. Okay, good. All right. So, there are glitches and problems in technology, and that just happens to be the results of some of them. But if you do things right, you can make some money. So let's see what we've got to make some money. So in terms of tools, I know you had somebody here that talked about different tools for XP migration. This is pretty interesting. I think the guys are like the engineers or developers are from Russia or something, but very responsive, and they speak English. So it's called Z-Install. Is anybody familiar with this, Z-Install? One person right here. Anybody else? 149. Well, that's the retail. So have you used it yet? So there's a trick. There's a trick to it. First of all, you can sign up as a reseller, and then it's less than 100. I got to go back and double check my numbers so I can be accurate and correct and not misspeak. But there is a giant discount if you become a reseller. And they've got two versions of the software, right? So they've got Win XP, and you got Win-Win, I think it's called, right? So you don't want to do the Win XP one, right? There's, like, I was doing a test, and the idea was, God, I don't want to spend time doing any complicated migration from here to here. They've got all these different programs and the cost of getting new programs and compatibility issues. Let me just take this whole machine, get them off the old machine, get them on a new machine, and then we'll deal with that later. At least they'll be on a new machine with XP running on it that they're familiar with. So I did that, and I had to call up the engineers because there's some tweaks that you have to do, and it only uses one of the cores. So if you have a quad core, the Win XP will only use one of the cores, and then the memory, it'll only use a certain amount of memory, but you have to go in and tweak it to be able to use the maximum amount of memory. and even then I wasn't happy with the performance. But if you're in one of those situations and you have to do it, it's an option. It was pretty amazing how it worked. It gave you a couple of different choices where you could just connect the two devices on the same network, and you install it over here, you install it over here, they find each other, and boom, it does it, right? And it's pretty clean and simple. Then there's connecting a cable directly from one computer to the other computer and doing it that way. But you want to do these things as fast as possible, and the fastest way to do it is take the hard drive out, attach it to the other computer's internal, so it's directly from the motherboard going back and forth, and transfer rate will be faster and the performance will be better. So that's like one of the tricks there. But the win-win is the one to use, because you're really trying to migrate them over to Windows 7 or Windows 8. And this will take the programs and move them over to Windows 8 and run in the Windows 8 environment. So they use, on their website, they use an example of Outlook Express 6 or something. Something that there's no way in hell it should be, it should be running on a Windows 7 or Windows 8 machine, and it magically does. So that's the one that I would recommend, is the win-win version. So, and they have the bundle where you can get both of them, but just do a little testing with it. I mean, for me, I think it's a nice, clean, simple way to do migrations without any complications. Okay, so all right, so we're gonna show some hardware now. This is pretty cool. Oh, by the way, I just heard that the patch has come down. If you look at the $1 bill, it's turned back into the 20 that you gave me. I'm going to have to call tech support. I am so sorry. Sorry. All right, so sometimes I say things for myself. So Lenovo Kit, really great way to package things up and move stuff around. And if a client that you're trying to talk to about migrating from XP to a new mobile device, what I've decided, and I've tested this out, it seems to work really well, is to say, okay, let's talk about mobile devices. The first thing you want to take in consideration is the size of the screen, from a functionality standpoint. So if you say, okay, I want a really small screen, but I really need a big screen, then, the next conversation is about dual monitors or one big 24-inch and 27-inch monitor. The price right now for monitors is just incredibly, it's not that much. It's like, you might as well go with at least a 24-inch or a 27-inch, and I prefer dual monitors myself. But if you start the conversation, you guys are computer people, right? So I'm like went forward a little bit, and now I'm going back. So you got the tablet, right? And the Lenovo tablets, I'm going to do this against my better judgment. They're designed to stand up. And we did an event in Mission Viejo, and the Lenovo guy kept throwing the computers on the floor, and it was driving me crazy. It's like, fingers on a chalkboard. But, they're like designed to be really strong and sturdy. And my opinion is that your life depends on these things, People go, oh, yeah, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. Yeah, as soon as they can't get their email or something's not working, gee, it has a different place in the life structure of importance. So tablet is one. And I'm going to leave these things here, after we get done with the presentation so you can touch and feel them, because that's what Lenovo wants you to do. And like I was showing somebody this last week, and they were going, yeah, this is really solid. Yes, sir. Please no. But then again, anything less than $100 is fine by me. So this is the Lenovo Tablet 2. Nice device. One of the things for the last 15 years that I've been arguing with manufacturers, I don't know if you've had this experience, but when tablets first came out, you were like, wow, a laptop should be a tablet. And I would always get into I was really passionate about it, talking to the manufacturers going, you need to be making laptops that are tablets too. It just makes sense. If this technology is there, there's no reason it shouldn't be in a laptop. Well, finally, I believe last year, the beginning of last year, all the manufacturers finally got on board, and you've been seeing advertising all year about some form of convertibles. So that's what I tell my clients is the buzzword you got to get familiar with is convertible. There's different names that it goes by, but that's a common standard is convertible. So we're going to show you some convertibles. So the next thing, size of the screen, I think this is 11.5 inch screen, and it's called a Helix. And I got a great video on YouTube where I'm interviewing somebody from Lenovo, and the woman is pregnant, and she's going to deliver like in the next 30 days, right? And she is so passionate about it and so much fun to watch her talk about the Helix. I mean, it was, new on the market. The one that she had was a prototype, so they were just coming out. And the night before, I was at dinner with like the executives from Lenovo sitting across the table, and I'm always looking for that inside conversation. What's something that, I find interesting. And so the two executives across the table, one guy was saying, yeah, I remember when they brought to the table this whole Helix thing, and I was like, no, this is a stupid idea. But somehow the other guy's department was able to convince the Lenovo community that, let's give this a try. And this was one of the products that we're really, really happy with. So to me, screen size, the minimum screen size, if you're going to try to really be a production system that you're working on, like 11.5 inches. So this is like 11.5 inches or 11.6 inches. And you get the best of both worlds. So it looks like a regular laptop, a regular clamshell laptop. There's actually a battery in here because this is a tablet on its own. So it's got 6 hours of battery life here, and then there's another battery inside the keyboard here. So together, it's supposed to be like up to 10 hours of battery life. And so if you're running it as a tablet, you just press the button there, it comes off, and now you got yourself a tablet, right? Sir, you're scaring me. I see a $50 bill in your future. So this is the Helix, and so let's say you're working on this, and the battery loses its charge. You put it back in here, and it'll recharge itself. The other thing is then you can take it here and put it like this, and then lay it down flat like that. It also has like fans right here, so for extra cooling. It's pretty cool. So this is the Helix, nice small device. And again, I take my clients through a progression of what size screen do you think is best for you, right? So then the next size up is another convertible, and it's called the Twist. And it looks, again, like a regular laptop. The screen's a little bit bigger, so this is 12.5 inches, and then you just go like that, and you can be doing presentations like this. Everything's touchscreen, so that's nice. And again, you got a tablet like this. I had a teacher, and I was showing all these things to a teacher, and she personally chose the Twist, and that I just got a notification that it's arrived, and so I'll be installing a new Twist for a teacher back in Pasadena. So, and all these things, you got the flavors of i5, i7. Oh, a big thing to know about if you don't know, and I was talking to a distributor about this, and they're like, yeah, you can add memory. I'm like, no, you can't. You cannot add memory. Do you know that a lot of the new laptops, because they're Ultrabooks, the memory is soldered in? It's one of those things where maybe you heard it once, and then all of a sudden you go and you try to get something, and you say, well, and you forget about that, and then after you get it, you go, oops, oh, that's right, I remember that, right? So stupid stuff, but little things to remember. The guy at the distributor didn't know it, and I'm like going, yeah, I'm pretty sure if you get it with 4 megabytes, you're not going to be able to upgrade it to 8. And so he said, oh, well, let me show you where to go. You go to, Lenovo here, and you go here, and you go here, and here's like this PDF that shows you all these details here. And so he's doing it on his computer back in Pennsylvania. I'm doing it on mine. And lo and behold, it says soldered on, you know. And the reason this became an issue for me was I was trying to buy, because I've been, part of my presentation of the basic education is, you know, get a reasonable amount of RAM when you're getting your computer. So, you know, let's make sure you got at least 8 gigabytes of RAM, right? And they didn't have any 8 gigabytes of RAM in stock, so the only option was 4 gigabytes of RAM. But I just talked my client into, this is what you need, and I can't go back to them and say, you know what, I can't get you that, you know. So guess what, 4 gigabytes is fine, right? You know, so things to be aware of. And apparently the twists were doing so well, that's why they were out of stock. Fortunately, there was another distributor that was able to get it from. And then this last one is the carbon. Matter of fact, I should click the slides through here a little bit. So that's what it looks like. You can see this, the kit. So you can see what it looks like inside. You can see what it looks like there, too. All right, so let's just move forward. Okay, the carbon. All right, so this is the Carbon X1. That's what you just saw on the screen. So this is the traditional 14-inch laptop. It's nice. It's clean. So, you know, take a look at this. It's not a convertible, though. So, and please don't steal these, okay? So here's the thing about the Lenovo kit, right? So you can buy the kit with all the... There you go. Apparently I'm running Lenovo. Okay, now watch this. This is cool. Come on. Yeah, I like the idea of this, but, you know, it's not perfect. Okay, so we went through the twist, the Helix. Okay, so the thing about the Helix, I was just on the airplane coming here, and this is, at first I was like, what the heck is that? Is that a marital aid? What the? I couldn't figure it out. And this has to do with an airport plane thing that, you know, that the person sitting in front of you moves back and breaks your screen. So the size of the Helix fits nicely underneath the stuff on the plane things. So that's one of the advantages of the Helix. And there's the tablet too. I'm sorry, I just say stuff sometimes. So when this tour first started, I had gone out and I had gotten one of these. This is the Tiny from Lenovo. And, you know, that's what I was showing people, not the Nook. And again, this is the equivalent of 4 golf balls that would be from here to here. And so this is just an add-on piece that's part of the package for, you know, DVD drive. But, you know, that's a thing of the past, too, I think. And, of course, you got USB 3. And over here on the back, it comes built in with the wireless antenna. And then this is the jumper from here to the DVD to give it power and communication. So that's the Tiny. Again, desktop option. Say what? Power supply. Yeah, right, really. Yeah, it's got a brick, you know. It's a little bit smaller, but you're right. That's a good thing. Yeah, that's a good argument. You can say that the computer is about the size of a power cord. Yeah. So call to action. Okay, so the combat kit. So you've got a flyer there about D&H. Is anybody here a D&H reseller partner? Okay, so a few people that are D&H. D&H is really very supportive to our community, and they're really easy to work with. Like I say, I didn't finish that story. So here I was driving to Costa Mesa, and this jeweler, she said, okay, I want a desktop computer. I call up my D&H distributor. It's after 3 o'clock in the afternoon, West Coast time. And I said, look, I don't know what model, but I got a budget. So what's the cheapest Lenovo laptop you've got, or desktop you've got? And they said, this. And I was like, no, it needs to have at least 8 gigabytes of RAM. And so by the time we were done, I had myself a $515 laptop. Deal was done. Client, I called them up, said it's done. It should arrive Friday or Saturday. This is Thursday afternoon. It arrived Saturday morning, and I didn't get any sleep on Saturday before I left to fly here because I was busy, getting that computer up to speed and then getting their computer, transferring everything over, and then installing it back at their location. So D&H is a really good place. The place to go to is dnh.com/XP migrations. And so the combat kit, so back to the combat kit for a second. You can purchase the combat kit, and it's a major discount. I forgot what the actual price is. It's less than $4,000, I believe. And, it's like a $6,000 or $7,000 product. One of the guys in Mission with San Diego had said, gee, I'd buy it just for the case because the cost of building a case like this is significant, and I'll put in whatever laptops I want. And he asked me to go back and find out if he can get a combat kit with all the same laptops. And the answer was no, the combat kit's like this is the way it's packaged. But the benefit, if you've ever been out there where you go, oh, this is great technology, I think I'll buy this so I can sell these, and then all of a sudden you're stuck with all this equipment. They have a refresh. I don't know what the policy is because they haven't told me yet. I've asked them. I think they're going back and forth on what it looks like. My thing is that if you buy a combat kit, you should be able to give it back to them once a year. They refresh it with all the latest stuff, and all you have to do is pay for shipping. That's what I'd like to do. If you don't dream, right? Like you dreaming that you're going to get your $100 back. I do need new sneakers. You know what I'm saying? All right. So, sorry, I digress. But we are in a religious facility, so you can pray. Sorry. Okay, so the combat kit. So this is their website, because what I did is I followed this. So we've been doing these things, and they say go to dnh.com/XP migration. And I go there, and I'm like going, okay, I don't get it. I don't, this is like, doesn't do it for me. And I don't know if you've had this experience, but you go to different events, and then they say, do this, and then you're like going, I know this isn't going to work the way the guy told me. And you go back, and it's like, there's something, and it's always a dead end, right? So I went to the website, and I was like, let me put in the slide here. You have to actually scroll down to the bottom, and this is a thing that says, basically, if you're not a D&H partner, sign up and become a D&H partner, right? And like I say, they're really good, user-friendly. They're based out here on the East Coast. To me, everything over here is the East Coast. So, good guys. So, matter of fact, I got this morning in an email from Harry, and they're doing a bunch of stuff to help people get educated on XP migrations and materials and support stuff. So that just came in today. This was interesting, because if somebody's moving away from XP to a new computer, it's an opportunity to talk about all the different things. It's like being responsible as the advisor. You should be bringing up some of these different subjects. So part of my 20-step process is, okay, if you get a laptop and you're at your office, I recommend that you work off of multiple monitors and a regular-sized keyboard and an extra mouse, and you just plug into a docking station. So does that make sense to you? Okay, you need a docking station, check here. You want one monitor or two monitors, check here. And you go down the list. And then one of the things was the phone. And I'm like, I was very involved with voice over IP. I was on the cover of the magazine for this company on voice over IP. And, I got burnt. So I was like a little gun shy about voice over IP. But I was actually on a development committee with UMA. When they first came out, they were like, here, buy our residential phone for $50 and never pay a phone bill ever again. And I was like, this is too good to be true, And so I talked to them, and they had figured out how that would work. And, of course, it's all about, okay, the add-ons, right? But it wasn't like a used car salesman, So they stayed. They're here to stay. They're a stable company. Because in the beginning I was like, let's see if they're here next year. So I actually helped develop this, and it's not for a big enterprise environment, but for a small business, it's pretty cool. It's like $250 for the unit, and you get the base device, and then you get two of those containers there, and they basically plug into an electrical jack, and they have an analog jack on the bottom that you plug in any phone to, and they connect wirelessly. So it's pretty cool, and it's really inexpensive, and you got good basic functionality. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to use it, So there's no giant learning curve to use the UMA device. So something that, there you go. You can see, and if you need extra, say, oh, well, we got, 5 extensions, 10 extensions. It's $49 for the box. And then it's only $19.99 a month for your line, and it's pretty much unlimited local and long-distance calling. So it's pretty good. And then the rates overseas are really reasonable, too. So that's UMA, and they got a whole reseller program, too. And the profit margin, the retail price versus the wholesale price, the markup is actually a little bit better than most of the stuff I see out there. It's not an expensive item, but at least the profit margin is a little bit better. Carbonite, they're actually developing a program for small businesses, and so it's not just a consumer version anymore. So, if you get a chance, get more, check it out. They're doing some stuff for, value-added resellers to help them be able to resell something. So, if your client's using Carbonite, then, why not buy it from you, right? If you can make a little bit on it, that's great. Better than not making anything. Quick story on not Carbonite, but just in general, we're having a conversation over here about the cloud, and I'm concerned about putting everything in the cloud. And so I have this guy, he's kind of like an executive guy that works with startup companies, and my name was referred to him, and I went and I talked to him. And he said, I haven't been working with an IT guy, and whatever I had was not me. And so he was like, I want to really work with a professional now. And he still picked me. Sorry, I'm not going to look at you. I don't like the way you're looking at me. So how are we doing? Okay, so it's about time. So basically, he was using a thing called Just Cloud. And the biggest thing about putting stuff in the cloud, if you have a major crash and you got to download the stuff, the download fails over and over and over again. So he had Geek Squad, spent tons of money on Geek Squad. He ends up getting the data, and not everything's there. So I had to do a manual download myself in cloud. So, of course, if you have backup, on-site backup first. All right, so here's different things there. You've got the flyers on it. Okay, here's a cool little thing. So education, there's an opportunity to resell a company that you can sell to your clients for education that can be tracked and stuff. They have a little video that's kind of stupid but kind of funny and gets the point across about an XP machine. So this guy, he's got his head in here, and at some point he gets a cold and he's looks like he's going to die, and so that's a virus and stuff. So that's a fun one. Microsoft Community Connect, really great program. That's where we got the prizes from right now. Something you really should find out about. We've got discount coupons, 10% off hardware, 5% off software at the Microsoft Store, I believe. That's right here, so feel free to take one of these cards. I think we have enough for everybody. And that's where the evaluations form came from. They came from them. And you basically have a website that you can set up an event, and you can use the Microsoft Store and coordinate with them. And so now you have an event where people can register to come to an event that you're putting on. It makes you look very professional. There's lots of other tools related to it. So what's in the package is you get a package like this. Inside it, you get a folder. Here's your event for your event, and educational materials. So you get like this. Here's some little tidbits about Windows 8. Moderator evaluation form and an envelope to send it back to them. Attendee evaluation form, which you're familiar with, and prizes and discount coupons. All right, so that's what's inside, and then you can see one of the prizes is Office 2013, Windows 8, And there you go. All right. And there you go. Okay. Prizes. Okay, so SMB Nation is having a contest, right? Really simple contest. You do 2 Microsoft Community Connect events, which are like, if you can fog and marry, you can do this. I hate events where, contests where you have to do all this work to enter it. It's like, this is more work than it's worth. So this contest is really simple. 2 MCC events, right? Grand prize, Colorado, 2 nights, 3 days, all expense paid. Pretty good. But I actually think that prize number 3 is the best one. So here's prize number 2. Prize number 3 is, of course, with me and Harry in Los Angeles. But, my brother's with the circus, right? So we will go to wherever the circus is, and you'll get a backstage pass, probably be on the stage. Anything I can do to take your $100 bill or abuse you in any way, shape, or form, we will give you an experience to remember. So that's prize number 3. Prize number 4 is passes to the fall SMB Nation event at Microsoft's headquarters. And then there's other prizes. So that's the contest. And xpmigrations.com. There you go. And, okay, expert talent. Yeah, so the idea is that you take this test. So if you go to the website and say, join us, there's a form to fill out. Somebody will call you back, give you a link, because they're kind of like doing some quality control for you to take the test. Take the test, you get certified, and then, the background check's really not taking place right now from what I've heard. So the idea is we get leads, and anybody that's conformed to what we're doing, you'll be able to have the opportunity to get work, potential opportunity for work. Join us. There, you got to scroll down. Remember I said about the scroll down? There it is, right there. That's where you actually have to do it. Fill out the form, yada yada, boom, and Work Market. So then you sign up at this place called Work Market. Anybody here familiar with Work Market? Okay. I'm not happy with it right now. We actually have an event on Thursday at their headquarters. When I get the leads from them, they're usually like, hey, we want you to work for 4 hours for $25. Is that what you're getting? Yeah. Flat fees. And you actually can negotiate with that. You can actually respond back, no, I won't do it for that, but, let's talk, So something to think about, XP Migrations. And then the peer group stuff. This guy was with Taylor Group. If you haven't heard him speak, he's an incredible speaker. And he basically, says, let's get serious. If you've got a business, this is what you need to do. This is me, my contact information. I'm done. And questions we don't have time for. Do we have time for 1 or 2 questions if there are any, or did I cover everything? Yes. Yes. The question was, will these things run a second monitor? And the answer is yes. And well, I'll tell you, I just got through a version of that. He said, if you got 2013, can you back install the other stuff? For me, the issue was Outlook. So I had forgotten about the gotcha about 2000, Exchange 2003, and Office 2013. And so all of a sudden I'm trying to configure it and it won't work, and I'm like, oh, right, I forgot. So then I had to uninstall Outlook and then install 2007. And so I was able to do that after installing 2013. So, okay. Anything else? And I'll be here hanging out. So please fill out the evaluation forms, and I turn it over to the man in charge. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. I almost forgot. I swear I didn't do that on purpose. I have a couple of sugar packets right here. And Frank, would you just pick one of those sugar packets?
Anyone?
Anyone, not that one. Here, I'm going to put them down there. Just pick anyone. Pick anyone. All right. So the fat joke again. All right, thanks. All right, I'm going to lose weight. That's it. No more of this. All right. So you can either keep the $1 bill or go for what's inside the sugar packet. What would you like to do, JB? Big mistake. You know that expression, one in the hand, two in the bush, or something like that? It's going to reach inside here, and inside we have a bill. It's green. It's got a couple zeros on it. It's got a 1 and 2 zeros. It's a $100 bill, and does that have his initials, Frank?
I don't know what your initials. Yes.
JB. I just want to make sure.
I heard that was a donation.
Is this the $100 bill that you gave me? Thank you very much. All right, have a good night.